Hello, beautiful angels. This is Olivia Grace, and I am back with another video. If you are new to this channel, here at Master Manifestors, we talk about releasing fear and doubt to raise your vibration and assist your ascension, and also, of course, manifesting things in the most effortless way. So if you are into that, then definitely subscribe. And if you want to help support this channel, you can like or comment or both. It would really help me out. Now, today's video is actually a little bit different because I don't really talk too much about relationships on here, but you guys really are interested in things like that. So, and I definitely have a lot to say about it because really the relationship that you have with yourself, I mean, manifestation, it really becomes about the relationship that you have with yourself. But the relationship that you have with yourself also affects the relationship that you have with others. So I'm gonna have 3 tips today on how to communicate or improve your communication in any relationship, whether it be, a romantic relationship, maybe it's just a relationship between you and your kids or you and your parents or however. But yes, so let's just hop into the video. And I made a TikTok about this. My TikTok will be in the link too if you guys are, want to check that out. But the first thing, you guys, is safety, okay? You have to make a person feel safe. And for so many different reasons, especially when you're dealing with men, they do not feel safe to communicate their emotions. And I won't even say especially with men because, I say especially with men because across the board, pretty much, no matter what culture, religion, country that you grow up in, it's not really celebrated in men to have emotion, let alone express it authentically. So that has not been learned. It's not been taught and it's not been learned. It's not been honored. And so most men, either they shut down and they don't say anything, and meanwhile all of it's like building up inside of them, or they explode and they're angry. And because anger is the one emotion that we give men a pass on, right? Now, many women will be in a relationship with a man and will want him to express intimacy with us, or romance with us, or, even just be able to talk about how he feels with them. But it hasn't been nurtured in that. And even sometimes as women, we can look at men, when a guy is crying or when he's expressing himself, and it can be kind of like a turnoff to us, which is going to further that kind of idea that they cannot express themselves and that they have to keep everything inside and that they have to internalize everything. So how do you go about making someone feel safe? And this is like, you guys, like I said, you can apply this to anything. If you're a parent and it's with your children, and your kids don't communicate with you because they don't feel safe to. If you're a person that blows up every time somebody says something to you, or they're trying to express their feelings and you're talking over them, you're yelling over them, you're telling them how they don't know anything because they're just a kid or whatever it is. All of these things, you guys, even if you're a kid that wants to communicate better with your parent, they have to feel safe in opening up. So you're really creating an environment and an energy about yourself that allows people to come in and not feel judged, guys, in a nutshell. Not feel judged. Feel like, hey, I might say something weird. I might say something that you don't agree with. I might say something, that makes you mad, but that I'm safe in expressing myself to you without judgment, right? And yeah, that sounds so easy and like so simple, but of course it's easier said than done. It really takes practice and patience, because you're not going to, like, let's say you're a girlfriend, you're trying to get your man to open up to you, and you tell him, hey babe, I just want you to know that you can talk to me. I want you to know that I'm here to listen, and, you know, I'm not going to judge you. And I just want you to know that this is a safe space for you. And you tell him that, but he still doesn't open up immediately because he probably has 20, 30, 40, 50, however many years of programming that's complete opposite to what you're saying. He probably has experiences where maybe someone did make him feel safe at first and then, you know, ruined it or end up still judging him or whatever. So, you know, just be patient, you guys, with whatever this person is that you're wanting to communicate better with. If you can remain patient, if you can keep that offer, because what happens is we offer that, they kind of like, oh, okay, cool, sure, yeah, whatever. And they're like not serious. They're not taking you serious. And we get upset. Now we're frustrated. Now we're angry. Oh, you never open up to me. Oh, you never da 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 da, all this stuff. And guess what that does? Makes them feel even more unsafe. It makes them draw even more into themselves. If you're mad at them off rip just for even telling you, hey, I don't feel comfortable, you know, sharing that, or I don't, you know, whatever they say, they may, if they're not really good at expressing their emotions, they may say that without saying that. They may say that in the way of brushing you off, or in a way of, yeah, whatever, or in a way of, okay, you know, but they want to know that you're serious. So getting angry with them is kind of undoing that, you know? So really just, you know, letting them know I am serious, you know, and I'm here when you're ready. There's no rush on it. There's no rush on it. I'm here when you're ready. Okay, so that's number one, is just creating the safe environment, letting them know they won't be judged, letting them know that you care, that you want to hear. I've heard so much, you guys, like on just from talking to men and reading things, you know, from men, like forums and things like that, that so many men, you guys, feel so uncared for. They feel so uncared for, and it's because men have such the strong persona of, you know, everything is on them. So who cares? It's almost like being like the strong friend. You know, people don't check on the strong friend. We're assuming you're good because you're the strong friend. But even those people, they still need someone to care. They still desire that. That is a human desire, to be cared for and to be loved. So make sure that you're expressing that, you guys. Second thing is with communication, listen to understand, not to respond. Okay? Listen to understand, not respond. Most of the time when we're, you know, having a conversation, even before it turns into an argument, we may even be having a healthy debate or a healthy conversation. But most of the time when we're listening, we are poking holes in their story as they're talking. We're not even listening for how they felt, or, you know, maybe it wasn't intentional, but how maybe something we said hurt their feelings. You know, we're all about, see, that thing they just said, that doesn't match up with the other thing they said, or, oh yeah, nah, that don't make no sense to me. So I'm gonna make sure we're like basically making like a mental checklist of all the things that we want to like say to them when they're done talking. And so basically what these arguments become, or what these conversations become, is each person just basically trying to get their point out and their view and their perspective out, which obviously, that's what a conversation is. But when you're trying to communicate effectively, it's not just that. Effective communication is not just getting how you feel out. It's also being able to receive and understand how the other person is feeling, right? And in these examples that I gave you guys, whether it's a relationship or even a friendship or a, you know, relationship between kids and parents, these are people that more than likely are going to be in your life, you know? So you do need to know how to effectively communicate with them. And just a side note, you guys, sometimes you're not right. That's something that I had to learn. Was I'm a person like, I feel like I can, well, less and less nowadays, but I feel like I could be kind of a know-it-all. I feel like I can feel like, oh, I already know what you're thinking. I already know what you meant. I already know. But sometimes we really don't, you guys. You really don't. And you don't have the opportunity to even figure that out or explore that, like, until you actually listen, you know, to what they're saying, and listen with the intent of actually hearing them. You guys, you will learn so much more from a person when you're listening with the intention of hearing them, of understanding them, of really trying to get on a level with them, rather than, okay, I can't wait for them to finish so I can say what I want to say. You're like, that alone will like just skyrocket your communication so much better. Okay, so listen to understand, not to respond. And it's not to say that you don't tell them how you feel, but you want to fully see and hear and honor what they have to feel, what they feel, and how they're whatever. Because honestly, if you're the one that's looking at this video, you guys, to be honest, you're probably the more emotionally mature one. If you're listening to this video, you are probably the more emotionally mature one in whatever relationship it is that you want to improve on the communication. So for you, you have to be the person that makes that initial, basically like that initial step of being the first one to listen, be the first one to hear them, right? And when you do this, you set an example. And this also will help with what I talked about first, helping them to feel safe, right? But you continuously doing this and them realizing like, wow, when I'm talking, she's not cutting me off. Wow, when I'm expressing, she's actually hearing what I'm saying. And it's taking them out of defense mode and back into the conversation, taking them out of argumentative back into just communicating and just listening and going back and forth. All right. And the last part, you guys, is be mindful of your emotions. So it's in so many conversations, they turn into an argument because our emotions have gotten out of hand. And I'm a Cancer, like I tell you guys, we are, the most emotional sign on the horoscope. So I know what I'm talking about. And when you start feeling emotion, like there's nothing wrong with feeling emotion, but what really ruins the communication, how emotions can ruin it, is when they're out of control. When you're bursting out in anger and yelling and screaming at someone, number one, the respect is lost. And that's a whole nother thing. If you guys are interested and you guys like this video, then I will definitely make like a part 2, 3. I don't know, because there's so many things that I could go into. But that, like, the respect is gone. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, when someone starts yelling at me, I don't even know what you're saying anymore. All I know is that you're yelling at me, you're disrespecting me, and I just can't. I just can't, and a lot of people get, obviously triggered or however by yelling and screaming. But more importantly, you guys, the message that you're trying to say is not getting through to this person. Okay? Because now they're on super defense mode. If they were on defense before, now they've got like double the walls up, because when you're yelling and screaming, it's your body, like people's body literally goes into like the adrenaline rush, like you're about to fight. You start feeling you're basically at the peak. Well, not the peak. I would say the peak is actually someone physically assaulting you, but you're right before that of feeling unsafe, of feeling like unpredictable. I don't really know what's going to happen next, So be mindful of your emotions. And of course, like when we're talking about especially heavy topics, you do get upset, you can get really angry, right? But that's the time for you to say, when you realize, when you feel it bubbling up in your chest or wherever you feel anger, when you feel that happening, that's the time for you to say, all right, I think let's take a pause on this conversation and let's come back, walk away, give them their space. And, I there's so much I want to go into, but I'm just going to leave it at that. But walk away, give them their space, allow yourself to calm down, allow yourself to calm way down. I don't mean going from angry to passive aggressive and like, okay, now I'm ready to talk. Because when you go from angry to passive aggressive and you go back and talk, you'll be right back into anger with like in no time. So calming yourself way down. And then when you're calm and the other person is calm, bringing the issue back up and following all these steps, the other steps of making them feel safe and listening to understand rather than to respond. And those three things, I think these three things alone, you guys, will really help. So I intend that it helped you. I intend that you guys are able to communicate effectively with those in your lives that you want to communicate effectively with. And if this video helped you and you would like to hear more on this topic, let me know, because like I said, I don't really talk about relationships in depth on here. But if it's something you're interested in, I can. So I love you guys. I hope that you guys have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you in the next video.